Hello, hello everyone. And after this amazing interview, we are now back with some Prince of Persia 2K8, aka the one that no one loves. And this time it will be Act Percent by Smathlax. How are you, Smath?
I'm doing alright. Hopefully better than yesterday. Hopefully won't be pulling us math today in response to Heyero's comment.
Alright, yeah, like just tell me when I can start the timer and I guess like we will be ready.
Okay, so I'm not gonna count down, I'll just let you know, basically.
Mhm.
So we start the run by loading a save file of the very beginning of the run. So just after this loading screen, and go. Okay, so right off the bat, we're gonna do a trick called AI break. Basically, we're chasing Elika here, and if we get too far behind Elika, then she stops and waits for us. But turns out if we get ahead of her, okay, well I messed up, so I'm gonna reset. Don't worry, this is a hard trick, so it can take a couple tries, and you can keep the timer going because it's whatever. This can happen. Basically, if we get too far behind Elika, then she waits for us. But if you get ahead of her, which is what we want to do, then basically the game doesn't detect us immediately behind her, and so it thinks we're very behind. And because of that, some triggers don't load and we can skip a fight. And so we want to go as fast as we can, and great, we did it. So we just saw Elika freeze there. So now she's waiting for us to catch up, but of course we're already ahead. And if she's waiting for us there, then the trigger for this fight here just doesn't load. As you can see, I can just yeet these enemies like that. This is supposed to be a proper fight. That took 2 tries, that's alright. Not a huge deal. And then we're gonna head into this cutscene here, and after that Elika will reset back to normal. It's actually funny because although I assume we didn't stop the timer for the marathon, if this is my PB, which is extremely likely, then we will time the speedrun from the second attempt because, well, that's how we time speedruns. So technically I did it first try. If you're watching this as my PB on YouTube, then I did that first try. If you're watching this as the PoPRuns run, then it was second try. Oh, and because we broke Elika earlier for a reason we don't understand, she's gonna do this here. So that's fun.
You really can put me down now.
GMP says hello YouTube. Hopefully we get some GMP fans responding to that. So, well, this is the first fight that we'll be doing. However, this is the second fight in the game. And we're just gonna kill this guy by doing a combo like that. He can't block anything. This is a very simple fight, not much to talk about yet. Coming up is another fight called the third fight. We're gonna skip it by clipping out of bounds. So there is actually another quite famous skip that we could do here by clipping out of bounds called barrier skip. We don't need to do that in this category. However, we're still gonna do the out of bounds clip just to skip the fight. And actually, okay, yeah, I saw this in Drep's run. I'm glad that worked. So, oh, fantastic. I don't know if we can skip this cutscene. We'll just watch it. So, the way I clipped out of bounds there, you'll see it again. It may have looked like I just walked into a corner and then I just ended up behind the wall. The way I did that was with a glitch called the corner clip. And I'll do that again in about 20 seconds. So basically, if we walk towards a ledge and we try to grind off the ledge, so you saw how when I was getting off that wall, the prince grinded down. So he can wall run up and he can also grind down in this game. Kind of like from a curtain in T2T, but from any wall. During the transition between grinding and walking, as he's about to do, he ignores collision, and so we can clip out of bounds like that. And here I'm doing temple door clip. Basically, this saves about 10 seconds. I just clipped under the door. And currently I'm doing another glitch called ultimate glitch. Basically, if you're below a floor, so long as you keep jumping, you will never fall to your death. As soon as I stop jumping, though, I will fall to my death. However, I can... Okay. That's interesting. No worries. We'll attempt that again. So temple door clip didn't save time in this instance because I messed up and died. Okay, this time I actually popped out back in bounds. You can pop back in bounds by hitting collision in a certain way. So I was going to do that with a wall on the right here, but I died. And no big deal. What was I gonna talk about? Oh, we'll if I remember, I'll talk about it later. For now, we're entering the temple, and as a story update, basically, this is like a temple which contains a dark god called Ahriman. And we're about to fight this guy who's Elika's father. If I don't suck. And after that fight, he's gonna decide to be a meanie and unleash the Dark God.
No. Father, no.
Which is not a very nice thing to do. And then we'll spend pretty much this whole run trying to put things back as they were. Oh god. GMP, don't start. Alright, so let's talk about this category a bit. Actually, we'll talk about it later because there'll be a cutscene. For now, since we've kind of corrupted everything, well, we have corruption everywhere, but also you have these enemies. These are just standard minions. We can kill them by just throwing them off the platform. And then we're gonna go kill another one. We can kill them either by throwing them off the platform or by throwing them into a wall. Alternatively, we can deal damage to them, but there's no point because throwing them into a wall is just significantly faster. And then we escape the temple. Here I switched to controller because we can't move the camera here, and it's very awkward to do this on mouse and keyboard, so it's just easier on controller. And now we're about to unlock one of Elika's powers, which is double jump, as you saw there. We'll see it a lot again, in case you missed it. So let's talk about the category a bit. So this category is hacked percent, or it's at least colloquially known as hacked percent. Its official name is any percent hacked. So in this game, you have to collect these collectibles called light seeds. And you have to collect them in order to unlock powers. And you need these powers to complete the game. And so there are 1,000 light seeds. And we need to collect over half of them in order to finish the game. And so the idea of hacked percent is that we use a cheat to give ourselves the light seeds just so we can see how fast the game would be if we didn't have to collect any light seeds. And so after this cutscene, I will use a cheat software to give myself 1,000 light seeds and then I'll be able to unlock all the powers straight away. This is an iconic moment coming up, so I'll just be quiet and let you enjoy.
I'd have had wine, women, I'd have had carpets this thick. Now I'm stuck with an angry god and a crazy woman. All right. Which one of these things do we need to do whatever to?
We can't reach the fertile grounds in these areas. We need to... No, we can't reach them anyway. We'll have to get to these 4. Then we can see what's happening.
There we are.
If I ever find that donkey. Carpets this thick.
The prince had some very thick carpets. Right, so let me give myself 1,000 light seeds now. There we are. And these are the 4 powers that you saw just light up as soon as I gave myself the light seeds. These are the 4 powers that I'll be giving myself. I mean, I suppose in a way this is an all light seeds run. Just a cheated one.
Yes, they were used to protect them.
You're gonna have to teach me how to.
Although personally I would define an all seeds run to mean that you have to collect each individual light seed. So for example, if there was a way to dupe light seeds, I would still argue, or I would still personally define a light seed, an all seeds run as a run in which you have to collect each individual light seed. And so for example, even if you duped light seeds for the sake of unlocking powers earlier, which can feasibly be a viable strat, I would still argue that afterwards you still have to go and collect the light seeds you missed. But yes, this is hacked anyway. So collecting these powers is going to take a while. Usually you're supposed to unlock them as you play the game, but we're going to unlock all 4 of them at the same time because we just cheated and got all the light seeds. And so every time we unlock a new power, a new cutscene plays, and sometimes there's a fight, and all of these are going to be packed into one place. So in the any percent run of this game, which in my opinion is the more interesting run, but I already ran it twice in a row for PoPRuns, so I did something different this year. In the any percent run, we wouldn't have entered the temple yet. We're actually about 45 minutes ahead of an any percent run, which makes sense in terms of world record if we think about it as well, because the world record for this category is something like 131, and for any percent it's like 218, and so that's roughly a 45, maybe a slightly bigger than 45-minute difference. In an any percent run, we wouldn't be entering the temple yet. If you remember when I mentioned barrier skip, we would do that, so we would clip out of bounds and go out into the world and collect light seeds before we enter the temple, which we're normally only supposed to be able to do afterwards, but glitches and stuff exist. This game does have some cool glitches. I mean, obviously you've seen the corner clip and ultimate glitch already. Ultimate glitch being the one where you jump under the floor, if you don't recall. But anyway, so as a fun fact, in any percent, even though it's not hacked, we actually unlock 3 of these powers at the same time as well. So there does come a moment about an hour into the run, or maybe slightly less, where you're also just here unlocking these powers, not doing all that much, to be honest. And it's from here on, this is going to be very similar to an any percent run, with one exception, and that being the fact that in any percent we would still need more light seeds. Like, we wouldn't be done, because like I said, we only unlock 3 powers in any percent at this point, and that's because we can't afford the 4th one. We need more light seeds, and so there's a slight difference in the route because of that. But for the most part, it's a shortened any percent run. So this cutscene plays when we unlock 2 powers in a row. At least I believe so. Because we're unlocking them all at the same time now, it's playing. So something I didn't mention is a week ago we found a new glitch. Now, I was hoping that we'd be able to use it for the run, however, only about an hour ago actually I realized that we won't be able to. So the glitch is called super fast travel, or it has a few names, but one of them is super fast travel, which is probably the most intuitive name. Basically, so normally when you die in this game, the game puts you back on the last solid ground that you stood on. And the super fast travel glitch makes the game forget which solid ground you stood on and take you to one that you stood on ages ago. So basically, in that sense, we can then teleport to where our storage is saved. So currently I actually do have this glitch activated, not on purpose. I just it's a result of the fact that I did temple door clip, and as a result of watching a certain cutscene. So I do actually have the glitch activated. I don't want to have it because I didn't find a use for it. However, I guess before disabling it by saving and quitting, I can at least show it off, which will take maybe 20 to 30 seconds to do. But I think it's cool to at least show it off. And unfortunately, the reason why we couldn't find a use for it is because when I was testing doing a full run through an hour or 2 ago, for whatever reason the glitch gets disabled during one of the boss fights. I'm not sure if there's a way to get around that. Like I said, I only discovered this 1 or 2 hours ago, so I'm not sure. And the reason I was only testing this 1 or 2 hours ago is because, like I said, this is a very new find. We only found it a week ago, and then it took us another while to understand how to get it consistently as well.
He'd never have done this. It was the grief.
He was a father.
Another thing worth mentioning is we removed the cutscenes for the game. So the cinematic cutscenes, that is. There are video files in one of the folders in the game's installation, and we removed those. I think a large reason for that is for the sake of consistency with the Sans trilogy. So if you saw any of the Sans trilogy runs, or Warrior Within, or the Two Thrones, you would have seen that already. But yeah, basically the cinematic cutscenes don't really play properly because of that. And we're about to see that here. We've seen it a few times already. But as you can see, the reason I'm not moving here is because I can't. And you can see there are subtitles. That's because there's supposed to be a cutscene playing.
Father, no!
But even though the subtitles still play, deleting the cutscene still saves time.
I'm here.
Anyway, so a word on combat now. Now that we've unlocked Elika's powers, we can use her to fight as well. And we basically do most of the fights by just spamming this single combo. Which is just jumping over the enemy with a few other attacks in between. So as a fun story, we actually used to do the longest unblockable combo to fight enemies, and we used to repeat that over and over again. And the way it works is that the longer your combo, the more damage each subsequent hit deals. However, so we used that for years until about a year ago, when I was messing about with the combos, and I was trying a bunch of them out. I wasn't even trying to find the time save. I think I was just trying to understand how combos work, so that I could figure out new strats, such as being able to throw enemies in specific ways, because some combos can be useful not just for dealing damage, but some of them can also be useful for example, throwing an enemy. And there's another combo for throwing an enemy backwards. And that's useful when we deal with enemies which can be killed by simply throwing them off a ledge or into a wall. So I was just trying to understand the combat system a bit better and exploring a bunch of combos. And I accidentally noticed that some of the combos that I was doing looked especially fast. And then I looked into that a bit more, and I timed how long they take to do. And I noticed that one particular combo actually has a higher damage per second rate than the longest unblockable combos, which we used to do. And that's the one that I used on the dad fight that we just had there. Oh, right. Thank you for reminding me, GMP. I tell you what, I'll show it off later. I still have the super fast travel glitch activated at the moment. I don't want to have it, but that's fine. We'll remove it later.
In the last battle with Ahriman, the city was given to the warrior. I think this could
If I save now, it's gonna take me back to the temple, so we'll do it after I kill the warrior. So right now we're about to see the first instance of the glitch called the airwalk. Basically, we're gonna go kill this guy, but not here. We're gonna go kill him elsewhere. And in order to get there, we will do an airwalk here. And there we are. So we're gonna be here a while. This airwalk is 4 minutes long, or more precisely like 3 minutes and 51 seconds. So this is quite amazing. This was found by Drep. It takes us straight to the final warrior fight. So in order to complete the game, there are 4 bosses we must kill. This is one of them, and this airwalk takes us straight to it. So it's crazy that the angle lines up precisely so that it takes us to the load trigger of the fight. And then conveniently, when we hit the load trigger, we're also next to a platform that we can jump to. And get to the fight. So in this category, this doesn't actually save that much time, if any. I think it might even be 10 seconds slower compared to the most optimal variant. However, it's very comfy. It avoids a whole lot. I mean, it avoids 4 minutes of platforming. So it's definitely a comfier thing to do. In any percent, however, this saves about 10 minutes. And that's because, as well as being able to get to the boss fight in a comfy way, we can also get to the boss fight without purchasing the blue power plate, which we don't have at this point in the any percent run. And so we can save a bunch of light seeds by doing this. yeah, in Pop 3D. Well, I guess in Arabian Nights you can go anywhere in the air. Not necessarily walk. So yeah, we're just doing this. Usually when I'm grinding any percent attempts, during this airwalk I solve a Rubik's Cube with one hand, which perhaps I could have done as well, but I figured I'd rather focus on explaining something. And it's a bit late now anyway. So we're gonna, after we finish this airwalk, we're gonna get to the warrior fight. The warrior is a different type of enemy in that normal combos don't work on him because he's just so big. So there's a completely different set of combos specifically for the warrior. And the way to kill him, as you'll see, is to just throw him off a ledge. But because he's so big, we can't just throw him. We have to wait for him to get to a ledge and then push him off. And yeah, just still in this airwalk. I guess it's kind of boring, but honestly, if we didn't do this, the skips that we would have to do in order to get to the same place I'm going now would be like very difficult. It's actually quite something. So definitely in a run, rather take the 4 minutes of holding the D key on the keyboard. And anyway, it's all loaded in now, and we just jump into the warrior fight. Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
It is not too late. Turn back. Flee.
Oh, that's an interesting point that Vinny has brought up, which I'll delve into after this, and that was a very nice moment of me attempting to delay my explanation, but then I was explaining the fact that I'm delaying my explanation and thus failed. Alright, no worries. Fantastic. It's fine. Alright, now we're just gonna throw him off the ledge. So Vinny brings up an interesting point. Wouldn't think you would need any skips because you have all the powers. So one is that even if we have all the powers and we can use them, sometimes it's just faster to not use them. So you can still save, like, say 10 seconds, for example, in some places. But two, there are actually, in order to get to this area, you have to get past what's known as a black gate. So in order to kill the final boss, or there are 4 final bosses essentially, in order to kill each of them, for each of them you have to heal 5 levels in order to unlock the black gate. And so even if we have all the powers, if we wanted to do it without any skips, we would be wasting like literally several hours healing all the levels. Like, see what I'm doing? I'm essentially healing a level here, like fighting this guy, and we would have to do that 20 times instead of 4 if we didn't skip any of the black gates. Conveniently, we can skip all 4 of them. What if I do them in reverse order? This is reverse order from Drep's run anyway. Yeah, so for this fight, unlike every other warrior fight, we don't throw him off because he's on fire, so we can't actually hit him. But luckily, the fact that he's on fire means that he's constantly being dealt damage. And I suppose I can show this off soon, but this platform that I'm standing on is supposed to be falling apart. But in the cutscene, right before the platform, or rather right after the cutscene, we can move away from the trigger that causes the platform to start falling apart. And the trigger is basically in the middle of the platform. And so I can show this off by walking into the trigger now. See, it starts falling apart. And the platform gets smaller and smaller as we go. And it becomes harder and harder to keep away from the warrior and not die. So it's very comfy to be able to skip that trigger, so that we don't have to worry. Yeah, hacked percent just means that we hack the required light seeds in. So there goes the warrior. That's essentially a quarter of the main part of the game done, and then there's endgame.
He tried to kill us and we got lucky.
One major cheat.
Don't let our luck run out. It's all right. We got away.
So we have 3 more bosses to similarly kill. Each of them will involve some interesting skips, because of course to get to each of them we have to do the black gate skips. So to show off the glitch that I talked about earlier, this is super fast travel, and I believe there was an autosave, so I need not worry. As you can see, I did this and now I'm back at the temple because I had storage here from way in the beginning. But anyway, I'm gonna go back and load the autosave that I just got. I needed to do this anyway to get rid of the glitch because I actually don't want to have it. Okay, unfortunately we have to watch this cutscene again, but that's no big deal.
And if we don't move, he'll succeed.
So loading a save file gets rid of the glitch. Yeah, interesting textures as well. That's just oh, the reasoning for that is quite complicated, and to be fair I don't fully understand it, but essentially it gives you some, every time you do that glitch it gives you some very interesting textures because the game is confused as to how you got there so quickly. This cutscene here we can actually skip, as in we are able to skip it. However, we can't skip it in order to... We can't skip it and then hope to finish the run. Let's phrase it that way. The reason for that is because when we kill the 4 bosses, we then have to go into the end game. And turns out the end game is just not loaded if you don't watch this particular cutscene. We don't know why it's special to this particular cutscene. This is the only cutscene in the game that you have to watch in order to finish the game. And so even though we can skip it, it's quite an easy skip. We just walk around the trigger. We don't. So coming up, there will be a very long cutscene. It's like over a minute long. And normally if we had walked here instead of doing that massive airwalk, I think I'm gonna mess up this enemy. Nope, I got it. If we'd walked here, we would have skipped that cutscene by doing some alternative skip. We skipped that cutscene either way by doing the airwalk, but now it's still there. So trust me, there is a cutscene there. But we're gonna do a corner clip right here to skip it, and I'm dead. So that's actually quite comfy that I didn't have super fast travel, because the run would have been dead. I would have been back at temple. But yeah, we skipped a huge cutscene there. Technically we skipped it twice, first with the airwalk and then again with the corner clip. So now we're just heading to the next boss fight, which is the Concubine. So until we get to that, there's just a bit of casual platforming. And coming up, there is a cutscene, which we will skip by simply going around it. So just on that platform up there, cutscene. It's not very long. Actually, I think this does save about 20 seconds. So, but yeah, nice time save. Again, the classic case of trust me, there's a cutscene there, and you will just have to trust me on that one. We can skip these pillars by doing wall runs like this. It's actually harder than it looks. It's not hard, but you need to know what you're doing, basically. Otherwise, you could end up falling off and dying. And this one here is even harder, but if you use a setup, like I am, it's not too bad. As you can see, it's quite easy to be too low, for example, and not reach that platform. Okay, so now we're gonna see another boss fight, but in order to get to the boss we have to skip the black gate. This one is incredibly hard to skip. We just stand next to it and then just jump around it like that. Insane. Technically I did do a glitch there. It's called the drop glitch. Essentially the drop glitch is the same as the corner clip, except like in the air. They're technically the same glitch, actually, I would say. And so you can kind of think of it as if we'd just clipped through to the side of the gate, but we didn't really clip through because there's no collision on the side of the gate. But it still gets us into a better position where we can jump and go around the gate. Anyway, I also... Well, I'll explain this later. I'll do it first. Oh, that was incredibly slow. Alright, so now if you're wondering, what the bloody hell did I just do there? Basically, this was a glitch called the ledge warp. The pausing, first of all, the pausing was completely unrelated to the glitch. The pausing just helped me execute it correctly, and I'll explain that in a moment. The glitch itself is done the same way as the airwalk, if you remember the airwalk. But something I didn't tell you about the airwalk earlier is that in order to set up the airwalk, you first have to hang from the ledge that you want to airwalk from. And so you hang from the ledge that you want to airwalk from so that the game thinks you're on that ledge. And then you jump and land so that one of the prince's arms is on the ledge and the other one is off the ledge. And the game, because you recently were on the ledge, the game thinks that you're still on it. But of course, since you're partway off it, there's nothing preventing you from just walking off, and so you indeed walk off. The ledge warp is the same thing, but where you, instead of hanging from the same ledge you want to airwalk from, hang elsewhere. And then when you hang partially off the ledge, it teleports you to where you were hanging from before. And the cool thing about that is that you can interrupt the teleport midway through. And this teleport, or rather it's more of a warp. A teleport would imply that we instantly appear at another place. It's more of a warp where we move to another location very, very quickly, ignoring all collision. And the cool thing about that is, as I said, we can interrupt that warp midway through. However, because it's so fast, usually, the vast majority of the time, if we want to interrupt it in a useful way, it's gonna be frame perfect. Because just one frame later and you'll be way further than you want to be. And similarly, one frame earlier and you'll be nowhere near where you want to be. And that relates to the reason I was pausing the game. Basically, if you pause the game, and then you unpause and immediately pause again, exactly one frame passes. And so we can use that to advance the game frame by frame. And that can be useful to time the frame perfect trick. So to kill the Concubine, we just do the combo that I talked about over and over again. This is the combo with the highest DPS, or damage per second, in the game. It goes Elika, Elika, jump, sword, sword, sword. Very simple. If we compare that to the combo we used to do, which is the longest unblockable combo, that would be Elika, Elika, jump, Elika, sword, Elika, gauntlet, jump, Elika, Elika. If I said that correctly. Obviously, to you, the precise combo probably doesn't mean anything, but just the fact that it's so long and it was hard for me to even remember shows how much more complicated fights used to be before we discovered the new strat of being able to just repeat a much simpler combo, which does less damage, but over a long period of time, if you repeat it over and over again, it's faster. Yep, that's what GMP posted in chat. So EEJESEGJEE, or on keyboard that would be EE space E left click ER space EE. If you're new to the run, that can be quite intimidating to memorize, and there are other combos you have to memorize as well, such as the throw combo. So here's a puzzle. The solution to this puzzle is to kill yourself. I can't guarantee that that will work for other puzzles, so don't try that. That's probably not the solution to your problems. However, in this particular puzzle, the solution is to kill yourself. Because the way dying works in this game is, well, you can't actually die. Elika saves you. And so it's quite a neat puzzle where seemingly there's no solution. You try everything and nothing works, and then you kill yourself and Elika saves you and you can continue. Elika. That's interesting. That's the first time anyone's ever said that to me, Velcheran. I don't know the reference, Oats, but even not knowing the reference, I found your comment funny.
What carpets?
No, redecorate the palace like you've been saying.
I'm not the concubine. She's gone.
So that was 2 out of the 4 bosses killed.
An illusion either.
Let's get out of here.
And now we're gonna head to the 3rd one, which will be the Alchemist. So again, we'll start by just doing some fairly casual platforming to get there. It's quite far. It will take a couple minutes to get there. And by the way, again, trust me, there is a cutscene right here. Like here. I'm not even walking around it, it just doesn't trigger. The reason for that is because we skipped the Black Gate. So usually you're supposed to heal 5 levels before attempting to kill the Concubine, which I just did. But obviously I didn't heal the 5 levels, and the cutscene only loads when you heal the level which is next to that Black Gate. And we will be skipping 2 more cutscenes this way. Small skip here, we can just do a double jump like that. Might be too low, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, that skip is actually very easy. I just jumped too far left. It's not precise at all. There we go. That's alright. So these cutscenes that are playing, the game essentially wants us to heal these levels. Which we technically should have done by now, but we don't want to, and we can skip the Black Gates anyway, so we don't need to. That's an excellent question, Drep. Should I heal windmills or walk back to the temple? I didn't even think of that, actually. I tell you what I'll do, because either way it's gonna be similar. So what I'll do is I'll heal windmills. And I'll heal windmills, and that's coincidentally the same level that I'll be doing a blindfolded run of later today. So I'm gonna heal it and show it normally, and then later on you'll get to see me do the same thing blindfolded. No, I'm not gonna combine my windmills blindfolded run with this. Even if I wanted to, the schedule wouldn't allow it. So coming up is Heaven's Stair, and this will be the first real difference between this hacked percent run and an any percent run. Up until now, I've been basically doing any percent after exiting the temple. What was I saying? So up until now, I've lost my train of thought because I read chat. Right, up until now, this has been mostly the same as an any percent run. In this level, which is Heaven's Stair, we're going to see the first difference. So in any percent, we would heal this level because we need the light seeds in order to unlock the final power. However here, well, the whole point of this category is that we don't need light seeds because we cheat to get them. And so we're going to do some skips that we don't do in any percent. Right, well, I don't know if it's faster or slower with the current strats, Sam. But I think it would be cool to show it off before my blindfolded run either way. So I'll heal windmills. But for anyone who's not familiar with this game and is confused about what we're talking about, that's later on in the run. For now, let's focus on this. Small cutscene skipped there. If I can pull it off. Okay, great. So if you attack this enemy fast enough... Oh, that was interesting. Okay. If you attack this enemy fast enough, you saw that door that just closed that's opening now. Usually there's a cutscene for that door closing. However, if we start attacking the enemy before the door starts closing, we can skip that cutscene. And I actually messed something up because the enemy didn't die immediately, but that's okay. Okay, so here's the difference between any percent and this. So first I'm gonna skip this cutscene, which is gonna prevent me from being able to heal this level, but that's fine because we don't need to heal it. I learned this skip about an hour ago. And then we're gonna do another skip here to skip a whole bunch of platforming. So we're gonna corner clip here and then do some quite finicky jumps. You have to really know what you're doing here in order to not die. And for some reason that didn't work. I'm actually not sure why that didn't work, but I actually only learned this skip today, so I'm not too fussed about that. I think I messed that up again, but that should be fine. Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay, come on, I'll get it this time.
Let's go.
Okay, this is happening again. That's weird. So, when I was practicing this earlier, I was getting it. I got it like 10 out of 10 tries. But of course, we've got the classic situation of always in practice, never in runs. That's still gonna happen. Okay. Let me just look at my notes. MMHH, MMHMH. I'm doing everything correctly as far as I can tell, but... Ah, crap, I wasn't supposed to do that, but that's okay. Okay, we'll make it. Alright, and finally we do a corner clip here to skip the black gate that's over there. That took way longer than it should have. This corner clip is quite finicky. It's actually quite difficult to clip out of bounds. Excuse me, camera. But with a setup, it's no big deal. And if you remember the ledge warp from earlier where I was able to warp to a different location, because we did all those skips, when we come back from this fight, we'll actually be soft locked. No need to worry about that, because I got ledge storage in a place where I can warp to avoid the soft lock. The only downside is that if I accidentally grab a ledge until we get back to that point, I will be actually permanently soft-locked without any way of saving that. There aren't really any ledges to grab around here, so that shouldn't be a problem. However, if in the event that it somehow does happen, I will have to load a safety save. Yeah, or as I recoined it yesterday, always in practice, sometimes in runs, and never in marathons. However, I've not actually done like a practice run of this category yet, unless you count my blind run, which was 5 minutes over estimate, and it was quite a crazy run because we found a new glitch during that run, and lots of weird things happened. So we can't actually test the sometimes in runs hypothesis at this very moment. However, definitely the never in marathons is true.
I'll live forever anyway. Wow, that sounds better in my head than out loud.
So this is the Alchemist. We're just gonna fight him with the same combo again, as we did with the other enemies.
You're looking pretty scared for an immortal. We gotta chase him now, don't we? It's not gonna make it easy when we corner him.
Just a bit more platforming to do before we get to the final Alchemist fight. Knock this enemy into a wall. I'll have to look back at that skip that failed a few times after the run and figure out why it didn't work. So this is a throw combo, which throws the enemy into that wall. We use this combo if just the standard knockback from standard attacks isn't sufficient to knock him back off a ledge or into a wall.
He's not gonna make that easy.
Oh, that was interesting. Oh, come on. Oh, fantastic. You're really gonna drag the fight on this much with that much health left. There he is. I think the way the lore answer to that question, GMP, is that he's the one who summons them. But I could be wrong on that.
But you won't live forever.
Because he seems like the type of guy who, I don't know, at least that's intuitive to me. He messes about with all the corruption and stuff. Like if you remember the cauldron, he raises the corruption levels. I feel like he's got control of the corruption.
I told you to stay away from the edge.
But I don't know, that's just like my intuitive answer.
Well, you told him.
Right, Sam confirms that, at least partly, so... And Sam knows his lore, so we'll go with that. Oh, and we're hanging from a ledge here, but it's in a cutscene, so it doesn't count, luckily.
Let's get down from here.
Yeah, good idea.
So, the casual platforming in this section is quite cool. There's absolutely nothing hard about it, it's just cool visually. And then, trust me, again, there is a cutscene here. But we don't care. So at this point we're technically soft locked. But that's fine. We can just ledge warp. Like this. And now we're not. And that's the end of that. Now we run to the final boss, which is the Hunter. So again, a little bit of casual platforming to get there. That's one of the minions, by the way, the enemies, which we can kill by just throwing them into a wall. With the ones that just appear in the world, we can actually kill them before they even spawn if we move quickly enough. Oh, if you miss Light Seeds, check my other run later today, where I will be collecting Light Seeds while blind.
Hello? Anybody home?
Do you think it's a good idea to let them know we're coming?
These guys might be stupid enough to sell their souls, but even they should have figured out our plan by now.
There's the power plate there.
Well, yes, but you want all of them. We don't even get all of them in any percent, and that's the best category. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna poke out my eyes. Figuratively speaking, though, however, I will be blind. Vin, I would have you know that I currently have 1,075 light seeds, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
We're entering the Citadel. If the corrupted return to their places, the Hunter will be here.
If we move quickly, we can skip this enemy. I'm not sure I'll be quick enough because I haven't done it in a while. Alright, I made it. Alright, so now we're approaching the Hunter Black Gate, which we're gonna skip with a corner clip. Like so. Easy clap. Countably, infinitely many light seeds. And so here I'm gonna interrupt our casual journey and go into this out of bounds section to do a skip. This particular skip is very precise on the aim. The mouse aim is actually, or the camera aim is actually pixel perfect. So let me just get that. I think that's good. Yep, got it. That was quite nice. Oh, it's technically not pixel perfect because that doesn't really mean much in a 3D game, but you can call it quantum perfect. So like, if you moved the camera left or right by the smallest amount possible, it wouldn't work anymore. Yeah, that is Vin. Well, again, maybe not pixel perfect, but quantum perfect. Well, because I'll explain in a bit. Oh, fantastic. Can you attack? Here we are. It's different from saying pixel perfect, because for example, when you turn the camera, things that are far away, even if you turn the camera by the smallest possible amount, things that are far away will shift by more than 1 pixel. Things that are close, oh, fantastic. Things that are close may only shift by 1 pixel, but the further away you look, the more they will shift. And so, I don't think it's actually pixel perfect, because if you move the camera by 1 quantum, I think it's more than 1 pixel. But the point is that if you indeed move the camera by the smallest possible amount, left or right, up and down is fine, but left or right is bad, then it won't work. Dude, barrier skip with a steering wheel. And then Hero says, the fuck is a quantum? A quantum is basically an integer amount. That's the simplest way to define a quantum. By the way, that's the hunter dead. So I mean, it's in physics. You would maybe you wouldn't refer it like that exactly, or refer to it like that exactly. But essentially, if you look at, for example, some butter, and it's got like you've got 100 grams of butter, you can kind of think of that as you can kind of think of that butter as being infinitely divisible, because you can essentially divide it an infinite amount, but you get to a certain point where you'll hit individual molecules and you can't actually divide those, and so that single molecule would be a quantum. So if I said I have a quantum amount of butter, I would mean that I have a single molecule of butter. That's like not really, I'm sure that's not a completely accurate explanation, but it's probably very simplified, but it should illustrate the point of what I mean. So I can turn the camera and I can seemingly divide how much I turn the camera an infinite amount, but actually, no, there are quantums. Anyway, so I'm gonna heal speedrun. I'm gonna heal windmills. So if you want to watch this, what I'm doing now, blindfolded later, check my later run. I'm gonna heal this level now so that I can teleport back to the temple, because we've killed all the bosses. We can enter endgame now. I actually don't remember how to do this non-blindfolded, so that's gonna be fun figuring out. It's actually extremely precise. I don't think that worked. Okay. No, that's not gonna work either. Close. Oh yeah, I guess you can call it plank perfect as well. Okay, I think that might work. That's unfortunate. So you can see how precise this is. If you want to watch me do this blindfolded, like I said, check back later. Nope. I'm about to just pull out my blindfolded setup, honestly. Okay, this might work. Yeah, that should be... No! That was so close. That's good. There we are, finally. Okay, so I did a skip there. Obviously, that was not casual platforming. And then, by doing that skip, I also skipped a cutscene. So I jumped into that cutscene, and we need this cutscene to load the rest of the level. And I died at the same time, in order to not get stuck there. Then here, I'm gonna do a ledge warp from this beam. But first, we have to go watch another cutscene.
Move the cranks to move the gears.
Patience brings rewards.
I was walking into a harem covered in chocolate.
I believe the setup for this is something like that. Okay. Alright, this I won't be doing blindfolded because this strat is insane blindfolded and it barely saves any time, but there's a corner clip here and corner clipping is basically impossible blindfolded, but yeah, we can clip into this fight.
Something I can hit.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I don't think this is faster than running back, but oh well. Okay, that's unfortunate, so looks like I can't just mash Elika. We can actually move in this cutscene, though I can't really see where I'm going. No, it will be blindfolded. I am just doing an alternative strat for that, yeah. Because the thing about corner clipping is you need to react to when you clip through so that you can jump away. And when you clip through, there's no auditory cue, so you just can't know when you've clipped through. And the way it works is you just mash W until you clip through, and you can't really know when you'll clip through exactly, so it's just maybe it's possible to find a setup to pull it off blindfolded so that you would like get it with a single W press, but I'd imagine any such setup would take longer than just the casual way, because the clip only saves 5 seconds. Alright, so the reason I did this is so that I could teleport to the temple. Can anyone update me on time? I want to see how I'm doing. Okay, so here's a skip. There we are. I skipped some platforming by doing a wall run there. It's actually very precise. And for this bit I'm actually gonna switch to controller because because of another skip that I'm gonna be doing later. So it looks like I'm gonna be underestimated, so I'm gonna attempt this. I'll be doing a skip at the end of this section. It's very precise, and if I fail, I have to do the entire thing again, so I'll lose like 2 minutes or something. And the reason I switched to controller is it's just easier to do on controller. Basically, with my keyboard layout, which is the default layout, in order to pull off the skip, I would have to mash E and hold D at the same time. And usually I would hold both of those buttons with my index finger. And so in order to mash D and hold E, or mash E and hold D at the same time, I'd have to do something weird with my fingers. It's just not a comfortable thing to do. Whereas on controller, it's much easier. You can just hold the left stick to the right and then mash Y with your right hand. The skip only saves like 10 seconds, but I'll try it. Alright, it's coming up now. And I got it, nice. So we skip that red plate there. That's actually very precise. If you're just slightly too early, he's gonna do a vertical wall run on that following wall and it's not gonna work. And conversely, if you're too late, then that's not gonna lose you 2 minutes. However, you'll fail the skip and you'll waste 10 seconds. The worst thing about doing that skip is that if you look, well, it's too late to say that now, but if you remember the walls, the textures on the walls were moving, and so you can't really have a visual cue for when you need to jump, because the textures are constantly moving, and so I actually rely on an auditory cue to pull that off. I also look at my distance from the plate to just give me a rough idea, but for the most part I rely on an auditory cue. So basically when the prince wall runs, he grinds his gauntlet against the wall, and when he grinds it, he makes a noise, a grinding noise, and it goes tut, like the grinding noises go like that. And I jump on the second grinding noise, basically. This is the final dad fight. We're gonna kill him by just spamming this combo over and over again. This fight used to be quite painful. Oh, okay, that's a thing. These are new things that realistically I've never seen in any percent, which is why I keep getting tripped up by them. I think this has got to do with the fact that I healed windmills. So actually, yeah, windmills is definitely not worth healing, now that I think about it, because it means that this guy activates auras. Unless we can predict those auras. In which case it might be worth it, because I believe when an enemy goes into an aura, he can't block. Or he never blocks an attack. Sorry, I was kind of going into quite a complicated discussion, so if you don't know the game, you might have lost me there. But basically I was saying that the enemy has a certain power to make it so that Elika's magic attacks don't work on him, and he just throws Elika away. And that's a result of the fact that I healed that level. Okay, so for this final section I'll switch to controller again. Because again, I can't move the camera. And so it's just easier on controller. And it's gonna... There's nothing particularly hard here, but you can very easily die. So it can be a bit tricky. And dying can cost like a whole 2 minutes even. And it's very easy to die, so I'll try not to do that. Especially when you're attempting cheeky jumps like this one. We do literally call them cheeky jumps. So another cheeky jump here. This one is actually free. Would you heal the... Hello? Hello? What? What's going on? Well, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Then again, I've never done a hacked percent run before. We'll see. Let's try saving and reloading. See what happens. That autosave is from 2 minutes ago. Let's try loading the save that I just made. Yeah, that's never happened before, but I've also never finished a run with this route. So it could be because of that. The only thing I can think of is that I skipped the cutscene in Heaven's Stair. That's the only reason I can think of for why this would be disabled or something would not work here. Also, maybe it's related to the fact that I got the super fast travel glitch, which again I've never finished a run with. Or rather, I never finished a run in which I at one point had the glitch. But we'll see. Hopefully the save and quit fixes that. And if not, then, well, I'll have to load a safety save. There's nothing else I can do. And then figure out after the run why that happened. No, that's annoying. Okay, take 2. Okay, it works. So I have no idea what happened there. I'll figure it out in my own time. But for now, we get to continue the run. No big deal.
What now? Go, go! Oh no!
So it's very easy to die by accident here because in order to move fast on the vines, you have to mash the A key on the controller. And as it turns out, in order to jump from your wall run, you also press the A key. And it's very easy to try to mash the A key to move fast on the vine, and then he just jumps to his death. And then you lose... Oh, what the hell is happening? Cursed run. Somehow I skipped a corruption bit there. I have no idea how.
He must not be free.
Yeah, unsoft locks.
Hold on!
I'm actually glad I didn't have to load a safety save because this is... Well, unless something else goes wrong, this is gonna be my PB, so I want to submit this. And that's gonna be cool because I only have one other run submitted of this category, and that's a blind run. Blind in the sense that I'm not new to the game, but I'm new to the category, and I did a blind run using only any percent knowledge. And in that run, I found the super fast travel glitch, and I messed around with that a lot, so it's quite cool to have that run on the board. So it would be quite cool if my second PB was a marathon run as well. And then the one after that, well, that's going to be world record. It's not illegal if the mods allow it, and as it so happens, I am a mod, so my word is how it's gonna be. Hello, whispered in the wind, shouted in the storm. I'm Smathlax. I say that every time I hear that line because it's quite a rare line. It just cracks me up every time. So, can anyone give me an update on time when I say now? So not yet, but in about maybe 10 to 20 seconds when I say now. Now.
1:25:38.
Oh my god. Okay, so from here on, it's another 9 minutes or so to finish the run. So, basically expect me to be 5 minutes underestimate.
Oh, not pulling a Smath. That's cool.
Yeah, and this is like my first real run of this category as well. I mean, realistically, this was a terrible run, but also because I'd never done a run, I put a very lenient estimate. Because I just wasn't sure how fast I'd be able to complete it. But realistically, I didn't prepare properly, and so I could complete it a lot faster, but because I didn't prepare properly, this is all we get, but still underestimate. I'm not sure it's because of windmills. I don't think windmills cost me like, what, 3 minutes? Who knows. Oh, by the way, Elika is dead now. If you're interested in the story reason behind that, she died before we even started the game, and the reason her father unleashed the apocalypse was because the dark god that he unleashed promised that he would bring Elika back to life. And he did, but then in order to imprison him again, Elika had to die once more. And so you will see credits now, but the run is not over. But yeah, Drep hasn't secured world record for very long. If I just do another run and actually prepare properly before doing it, I can probably easily get sub 130. Some interesting textures there. Is that not loaded? Okay, it's loaded in now. Very, very cursed things are happening. After I grind it a little, realistically, at this present moment, I don't have enough time to grind anything. I'm probably, after PoPRuns finishes, I'm probably not going to touch speedrunning for at least a few weeks. Maybe I'll turn this game on once or twice to look for some strats. But other than that, I'm not going to touch speedrunning for a while because I'm quite busy with things IRL. Maybe in like January or February, I'll grind this a little. I'm not going to grind it as much as any percent. But yeah, I reckon I can get sub 130 with the next run I do. So long as I like actually go through the run slowly and take my time to learn all the strats, and not like today where, you know, like that skip that I failed a bunch of times, I only learned today. I spent about 10 minutes learning it, and that was it. So surprise, surprise, when I fail it a bunch of times. But yeah, if I grind it properly, I mean, it's hard to say. We haven't even strat hunted this category properly yet. Maybe like 127 or something is possible. I don't know. Okay, so just the final bit of gameplay. Basically what we just did there, we re-imprisoned Ahriman, everything's all nice and dandy again. No. What is this? Sub 1 for Toka 2k hacked percent? I mean, what? Anyway, so everything is nice and dandy again, there's no more corruption. But Elika is dead. And basically the prince has decided that he's gonna bring her back to life again and unleash Ahriman again. This is not gonna be sub-warrior within NMG segmented. Actually, I'm not sure. Because I don't know, because I know that run was 133. And I think this one is supposed to be... Oh wait, no, this is definitely behind, because this one's going to be a 134. So when I was, well, quote-unquote preparing for this run... Oh, sick. Nice time loss. When I was preparing for this run in speech marks, I was hoping that I'd be able to find a use for the super fast travel glitch, because it's very cool. Well, at least I got to show it off, even if we didn't use it in a meaningful way. But yeah, just today I discovered that unfortunately something prevents us from being able to use it. But that's fine, I still got to show off the Heaven Stair skips. By the way, this next jump is gonna be no hands. Magic. Oh right, yeah, second attempt does start a bit later. So maybe this is ahead. I don't know. Obviously for the sake of the marathon. Yeah, actually I would count it from the first attempt. Because we're counting marathon times. And the segmented run is not even a valid run anyway, so... We have to count the marathon time and not the speedrun.com time. Because the segmented run doesn't even have a speedrun.com time. Anyway, one last skip coming up. Walk skip. Basically, as we walk here, the prince is gonna stop running and start walking, but we can skip. I'm literally gonna go back and redo this. Because I'm underestimate, I can afford to do this. I cannot fail walk skip. That's unacceptable. But yeah, this is not gonna save time anymore, but I still want to show it off. If we go far enough back, he will start running again. And I'm gonna show you how to skip this. Any day now. Alright, here we go. Yeah, just rip that thing, by the way. Okay, whatever. That was You get the point. How you can skip some of that. Perhaps I need some practice on that. I didn't practice this a single time. At least I did like half of walk skip. Alright, so Augur, get ready on time. It's gonna be at the end of this corridor. Finishing the run with 1,101 light seeds. This being the final one. Augur. O-R-G-A. And time.
Sorry, did you say something? I didn't listen. Anything important?
No, nothing important. Just pulling a Smath. So you can, you know, rest assured, you can chill for another half an hour while I finish the run.
Well, GG to you. Basically, world record, essentially, almost, probably.
Yeah, next run.
So in January, I see.
Unless I get too tempted and do a run before that. But yeah, like I said, if you remember me healing windmills, if you want to see me do that blindfolded, check back my run in about 2.5 hours. But yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll pass it back to the Augur crew.